somebody was like, Hydra, y'all, and I'm like, you don't pay my sub to life. And they're like, well, I mean, if you're dead, then that's one less person in the queue, I guess. And I was like, nah, I'll be queuing when I'm dead, too. And they're like, honestly, mood. And here we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparations is quite extensive, the average Charlene tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. You'll die in queue, right? How can I put this? The food is, it's bland. as encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is a dietary value first, taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals. Who could? I think they meant to say who couldn't stomach the school's insipid meals no longer. So he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. So the last stand came to be, as it is, as the name implies, the sole dedication to outpost of fine dining in Charlene. The one and only bastion of culinary arts in the Isle of otherwise mediocre fare. It seems to recall, I do seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I've ever had the pleasure of eating one myself, because you were a typical Charlene when it came to cheap and convenient Raha. But surely Totaro has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delight. Shall we press on then? The stairs on the side of the cafe will take us up to the Aetheryte Plaza. Look at that, we have a cafe here. Could stand no longer is correct. Look, it's a nice little cafe. I'm gonna sit down right here. How's it going? Why did it make me stand up to talk to him? Come on, man. What is this fucking thing here? An unusual shape, isn't it? Yeah. I assure you, however, that is a perfectly functioning Aetheryte. Remember to tune yourself before you move on. I've already done that. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Charlene stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of Allegan Aetheryte, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast towards the Agora Charlene's largest marketplace. There's not many of the other ones, like the blue ones, regular blue ones. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Charlene, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from various research institutions, but I think the practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next step on our tour is one which particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetheryte Plaza and follow the path north and then climb the stairs to the imposing building at the very top. Going up to the rostra. Yeah. Cleese and his group, they were done with MSQ and they've already farmed the extreme trials or whatever, and I'm just like, what's the point? Oh, here's a blue one. These little decorative features are typical of Charlene architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Val were rather simple and rustic in comparison. No. I don't know what the trials are. One of them's a spoiler, so I don't want to know. The other one's most likely Anima. This is the Nymphaeum, an area dedicated to the blessing of water. For Charlene, water represents more than life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder that the Great Flood, which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of knowledge that flows from Thaliak's divine Ewer. The reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city and the propensity of utilizing water as a decorative feature in architecture. Oh, okay. This grand structure before you is known as the Rostra. The Rostral. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which the forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of the members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in the mind of my arrival in the first. Those who gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answer were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Charlene. And bit by bit, those buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can see the echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories would be a treasure. For now, however, our tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east. Continue straight ahead. The Trials of Monka. I'm assuming what he has on is the wings that he has on are those. CG Inferno, he didn't even know he played 14. I didn't know he played 14 either. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this is where those who push ashore with Archon Niemcraft built their first home. In the present day, it serves as a residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Charlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Levier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that brings this little Charlene tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, we shall head directly to the Baldesion Annex. You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, across the bridge to our right, and then follow the paths below the Aether Plaza? Correct. After you, Elaine. So is there no other of the blue thingies? Just go busting up in the fucking Fortunate's house. Oh, who it is? That's a cute cat girl. Right, we cross this bridge here, as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful. Do not end up on the back in the Aether Plaza. Charlene is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professions Professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Valdesian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive at the doorsteps of the Phenomenon. The doorsteps of the Phenomenon, but I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another day. Inside you go then. I'm back, and I've brought Elaine and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship, then. Hello, Graha. It's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Elaine. I've heard many of tales of your exploits. Ojika? Ojika Sunjiga? It's been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sunjika, Administration Officer of the Students of Valdesian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. You may recall meeting his cousin Ejika. Oh, this is Ejika's cousin. I wonder if this changes if you complete the storyline. I wonder if this changes if you complete the storyline of, Oh yes, Eureka. I read the initial report. Quite a shock to hear what became of the owl. Do take care if you have the opportunity to rejoin the expedition. This is like a second home to the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlene. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shore. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engage in such activity. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. And yet it feels so empty with so many lost to us. Our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. First, we must ensure that the Telophoroi fall. Or fail. Through that door to the left there is the main hall where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you probably have some time to rest before discussion begins in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you and in the Andron. Please feel free to make yourself at home. The nap room's perfect for an afternoon doze. Of course, Graha thinking about a cat nap. Oh, I didn't mean to give you a wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed, far more than some cheap roadside inn. You may be assured. 'Twas simply that we were often so busy to research, or exhausted from journeys abroad, that we would slip into the Andron to steal a few winks, and thus became known amongst the students as nap rooms. Even if many such naps might as well last until the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you the chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. Can I buy grave matter from this person? No. Feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest that we stay here and wait for them to join us.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
Yeah, what were you doing, Urianger? What were you doing?
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Charlian.
Yeah, PlayStation
Not
Game
to
Pass,
mention
yeah.
the recent
Totally.
inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most
I'm
of
ready
you
to be
know,
able to play White Knight
the
Chronicles
99
on the
members
PS5.
of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Charlian focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous.
You should be able to play
Even
over
more
trails,
concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, it simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Charlian colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nadana, an alchemist residing in distant Favner. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Charlian is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnarian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Charlian. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alice and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Woohoo. Quest 2 done. Damn. I don't know what to do first. Well, this actually looks pretty nice too. It's not better though. Hitting the books. Where's that? Now fuck it, we're doing Charlene first. An unsettling change has come over Charlene, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the councils directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Charlene's archives of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice to say that progress has been slow, and there are only so many dusty pages that one can skim in a day. But now I have this band of willing reinforcements, and the search shall proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside of the Numenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives to the western edge of the wood. I'll be back to hang with you guys later. I'm gonna go read books. This is just like the beginning of Shadowbringers, where they give you 2 branching quests or whatever, where you go meet Alice and Alpha now. Oh no, there's side quests. There are side quests. I think this unlocks the hunt down here. Right? Do my eyes deceive me, or are you Elaine Auclair? Yeah? Well, as I live and breathe, it is you. Ha! I knew I'd be the first to track you down. Who's the guild ship's top hunter now, eh? Wait, have you heard of the guild ship hunts? They're not too different from the hunts that you're familiar with in years, yeah. No. Just unlocking the hunt. I don't need to read the explanation of hunts. There's no other plus ones other than specimen that came from the moon. Oh, I'm turning down the wrong way. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of the Nomenon, Charlane's grandest collection of books and tomes. It is the building that, this building is actually only an entrance, and one of many, that is. For the archives of the Nomenon extend deep beneath the surface, like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the Great Google Library pale in comparison to the Nomenon's endless and subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Charlian is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of the shelves. Only Archons afford access to certain restricted vaults. I've dispatched Tolia and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alice and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks of open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here and here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Charlian history or the foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you a working knowledge of these subjects will make it far easier to spot the clue we're looking for. Let us be about them, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading. Yeah. I wish we got the Explorer. I feel like we're actually not allowed to go anywhere, so probably doesn't allow us to really do anything. Time-worn tome. Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, Archon Neumcreft, founder of Charlane, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising the settlement on an island in the northern empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Charlanes took to heart the words of their savior, and henceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon the foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, the nation born from a single strength of mind rather than a strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading, and with knowledge of agriculture became bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter of trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Charlene would live by their founders' teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war, and with knowledge deliver the world. Well worn manual. Forever 20 summers. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed the rest of your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries and drive us that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share you this mantra. I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19. You could be 19, 23, or 40. Whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research, another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from biological, aetheriological, and arcane viewpoint. This book is the wrong subject. Search the works that contain details on the forum or mention the history of Charlene. I want to fucking read all the book. An introduction to the heavens. Okay. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading fingers of the age, one scholar's depiction of the boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, the heavenly sea remains unreachable, unknowable, an unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Alag who came the closest to understand the laws of which govern the starry abyss. It was they who reached Dalamud. They who launched Dalamud and sought to expand beyond their earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the external constellations were arranged differently in the distant past? That their positions continued to shift almost imperceptibly, but measurably as. Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? This book is the wrong subject. No, it's the right subject, because I want to learn. I want to read. As much as I don't like reading. The voice of a growing city. In the years which to follow the founding of Charlene, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Asselesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, the format became increasingly impractical, and a large number of participants gave rise to an even longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolution. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussion, but in the year of 201 of the 6th Astral Era was ultimately decreed that Charlene would transition into a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of nationwide vote. Thus was the forum as we know it today conceived and created. Many years ago, on the banks of Thaliak in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Charlian colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of the growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Charlians. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Charlian colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Charlian, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, Charlian inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed it for themselves. A corner of abandoned colony gave yet to another name, Idleshire. Following chapters go into introduce the most prominent features of the Idleshire. This book does not appear to contain the information of the Long ago, on the island in the northern sea, there lived a Rogadan man named by the name of Niamkrep. Niamkrep was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the land of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for the Imperial realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Niamkrep's crew hauled them aboard his arc, and the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel into pieces. With only moments to spare, Neoncraft wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Alabathia's spine. Refugees from surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddening by the sight, Neoncraft gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and abandoned the Ark to those reddened peak. They journeyed to the coast, where they built a new ship intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on a breach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time became the city of Charlian we live in this day. You gain the fundamental understanding of Charlian history and foundation of the forum. Head outside and rendezvous with the I didn't learn anything. I knew all that. Hey, look, Dahl's here. Sorry, were you waiting long? Wanted to make sure I had borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Cryo should also be along shortly. I was delayed in a similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final days specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if there are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would be nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read. And a ready supply of hot tea. It was always quite fond of reading outside, but it's not the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult after our arrival. We managed to speak with one of the family's servants and asked how things were. It seems that our dear father instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Charlane, we were not to be we were not to be allowed across the threshold. Jesus. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that that our efforts to understand his position and that of the Forum will perhaps lead to reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlene, yes, but I was born rather far away. In the southern reaches of Ilzabard, in fact, for generations, my people have dwelt in Cordvos, a coastal region opposite of the island of Theth. The Allegans founded a city in fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Makote and served as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes living in Corvus braved the journey back to Eorzea. So they did walk across. It just wasn't from Mericidia. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent remnants of Alec technology from being misused. Isn't Corvus under Guardian rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of a local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amenas. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allegan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices have been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allegan eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. The fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alleg. As the last child born with the Allegan eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Aldessian who had me register as a Charlene citizen. Never considered, forgive me, was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louis Sois, was he not? Stories of adopted wives and rescued orphans are more common among Charlanians than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origin, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient we outriders can even earn a vaunted title of Ark. It's exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish to remain a nation. Why I wish it to remain a nation in which its citizens can be proud. Here. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Elaine. More company should be arriving soon. We've returned with our selection. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mr. Skral had already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days come from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarat firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking some critical details. Ask me anything you want. Thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomenon did the ancients encounter as the final days drew on? A complete destabilization of creation magics. Yes, The unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all matter of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. The fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fires erupting from the ground, and indescribable abominations prowling the street. That's more or less aligned with my understandings. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Y'shtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of summoning rituals promulgated by the Ascians. Was there aught else note of which heralded the approach of the final days? They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Ah, yes, the Amratine spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear the sound ourselves, of course, thus thrust as we were into the midst of madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by an ominous noise. Eventually, it resounded all across the star, and not even Amarat was spared. The ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive. Probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of the Nomenon's moments and ask her any books at which mentions such a sound. Well, last not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action they take? No. They summoned Zodiac. Yes, with Elizabeth serving as his heart, and so many of themselves sacrificed to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will there were laws of nature set aright. Then once the balance itself was adjusted, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives shrouded anew, and there was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiac, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by Primal. Or might have, had Vanat and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Hyde. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident in now my understandings of the event. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Talafroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers, forcing people to summon primals, a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magic? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash. But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return to our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Y'shtola. But tis time we began studying these research papers. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and get a drink. Now we wait for Y'shtola. Y'shtola. I'd love for this not to be voiced, but yeah. I am the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Gerun Oracle. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Google Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, that would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Fortunal with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their machination, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom guiding the Forum behavior, it is kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain the mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. You labor for what feels like an age as Y'shtola's research assistant. Aw, I want to be Y'shtola's research assistant. Oh dear, you look exhausted. What about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subject I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. You should you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the reference desk will point you into the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Alisade appears in desperate need of a steady break. Ready for a tea break, Elaine? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come meet me near the outside tables and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Sweet. Coffee time, coffee time, coffee time. busy as ever. I see how very Charlene that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Labyrinthos. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Alice is accompanying you. Keep her at your side. See what's best. You can leave Alice behind you. Alice is in a party! What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. Oh, you misunderstand, sir. We are simply wondering if you knew of the Labyrinthos. These enemies of peace have promised to end all that we hold dear in. Wait, you're that House Labyrinthos girl, aren't you? And this woman with you is obviously a foreigner. I heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims. And here you are, giving truth to the rumor. I'll think you leave me be. I have naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so unlike you. Come away. Yes, I don't believe we've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption, but we are hoping you might share your thoughts on the Labyrinthos and their unconscionable plan. Oh my goodness, if it isn't young Miss Olivia. I apologize, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortunato that I was helping you, I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Welcome, madam. Wait, is that Mistress Alize I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent this cafe on occasion, in between lessons and studio. It seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? No. It's complicated, and I hadn't expected the complete strangers to be so familiar with their situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Olivia. No matter how discreet Master Fortunato may have been, news of your family doing never stays secret for long. Things being what they are now, what brings you back to this? What brings you to the city now? Of all times, we have questions, and only Charlene has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you ever heard of anything about the apocalypse? About an apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And what are you? And that's what you're here to find information of this apocalypse? Yes. Whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak to me. Wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlene, aren't you? Well, then, if you know your face, we should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. Oh my God! I gotta be a waitress now. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea set is for the chatty group sitting by water's edge. The omelet is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at the outside table with a friend of hers. And behind them, you should see a Makote gentleman. He ordered an oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, ask again. All right. Who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them, or their final days. My friend and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about the ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Where's the seat at? Where's the seat? Let me sit down! I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the 6th Astral Era. Alright, who's next? You got the omelet. Oh, finally, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in. No time to waste. What the Calafaroy? Ah, yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. And that's some grand claim that about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Okay. Simirutia? God, the anticipation. I heard it melts in your mouth like the most succulent roast ever made. Well, you don't need to butter me up, you know. I've already ordered one of the most expensive things on the menu. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine! You have no idea how long I've been waited to scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish! The final days? This is the first I've heard of it. Although, that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must have been a busy time to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is. They're collectors of sorts. Travel the world, procuring things that we haven't got here in Charlene, priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folks who trail after the reapers in the field, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is the most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Telophoroi made good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities would be lost forever. Why else would gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from docks all day. It's never been this hectic before, not like this. Any trouble with customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seemed unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news in the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the Forum does have a secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers about it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here's that cup of coffee, I promise. But let's enjoy a drink somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossip and the whacking sun. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
This is probably where we get access to Labyrinthos.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
Mm-hmm.
A vast complex beneath the island. Charlian is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Did didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to the Nomenon, and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want to hear, want his cups back. Go to the Labyrinthos soon. Welcome back, Elaine. Been for a walk and cleared your head, right? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigation and turned up information on the Gleaners. It makes sense. The Gleaners take requests directly from the institutions and the bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase of Gleaner traffic and in cargo, it certainly gives the impression that the overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what the theory can build. Let us see what theory we can build from the facts. As Yashola observed earlier, Nomenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with Elaine and Alice learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Charlene's know nothing of a particular period in ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somewhat concerned of the destruction being perpetrated by the Telophoroi, wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it is stretched to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secret events. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. Anything would be better than burying my head in another dusty book. Oh, I would hate to spoil the surprise. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I would like to research, I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I see that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha. That's where Graha goes into like that secret section. It's like, ah, yes. Let's head down the stairs there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. I didn't think people were just allowed to go down there. I felt like we were... I thought we were going to have to like sneak in or something. Ready? Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Follow LSA and try not to fall far behind. Alright. God, you can go faster, LSA, damn. Now we run, try to keep up. There we go, fucking A. Across this grid. Here we are, through these doors down the stairs. Did you remember to attune to the shard back there? Didn't you? It will make life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. Yeah. Chocobo porter back here. We're all here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing permission for our group's ascent. Right, everyone's onto the lift now.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Emmett knows a lot about Charlene.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice, but I assure you that we are beneath Charlian itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh. Did you call to me just now?
Uh,
No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure.
Crow? What's going on
Let's
here?
get to work, shall we?
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Holy Jesus Christ, this place is huge. Not a fan of the music, though. You want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books and ore and fauna. It needs hauling, and I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos. You know, sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before. They just did one a few summers ago, even, and then with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. It could be that they're changing the layout, preparing for the next big expansion. Your exchange with Dobbin has taught you about taking stock in Labyrinthos. Okay. Oh fuck, I can mount here too? You there. Help her give me more headaches, because you don't have the look of a gleaner, and I am in no mood of idle chatter. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have a pack of marmots running. Exchange with Arno, I thought you exhausted gleaners. Okay. Can I buy dark matter? I need to repair. Yep. So I don't have leather working. And I don't have that done, but that's okay. Let me think. The ray seeds should be item 1058. Human seeds at 1059. Snurlberry seeds 1060. Where they said 1061? My head feels like so stuffed, like moko grass. Stuff from moko grass. Why more loads take on to carry out? Why do all this at once and risking mixing it up? What if someone mistakes Corthan carrots for Garabonian carrots? What then? Any luck, Elaine? What tales did the gleaners have to tell you? So this grand operation began without warning, and for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces, it seems. We were right. The form definitely is up to something, and they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. Hey! Company rank up just because I fucking finished that quest. We would do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who is tasked them to do it. If you're game, Elaine, I have an idea. Didn't one of the Gleaners question to say something about escaped armors? Perhaps if you were to help him capture the creatures, he might be more inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting! Time to help Marmot guy. I need to change something real quick. Alright. My gate was too... Wish to help me find the marmots? I have nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I'd welcome the assistance. The name is Aaronville, friend. Specialist in collecting of livestock. That said, the capture of these Nangshian marmots is a trial I've no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call. For mercy, there are no other marmot species on this tier as present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any stuff back, gently, of course. Where to begin? You wonder? I've not seen any scampering around here, so we'll widen our search to the surrounding forest. Be on your guard. These beasts, there are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on the marmot or you. Searching trees in the west, and the eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. Fetch quest. That guy is ugly. This motherfucker. I like how I've gotten the sperm mount twice in a row. I'm just walking around here with the fucking Garlean armor. I feel like getting the Aether Currents here gonna be a bitch. This place has three Aetherites. It has 3 Aetherites. Wait there a moment while I put our friends in the holding cage. Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unharmed. They've held up well in their isolation, but it's a good thing that we were able to recapture them swiftly. You have my thanks. Why the authority charged at Labyrinthos? Now and in perpetuity. Perpetuity. The same officials who have had us working day by day of late. Day and night of late. The honorable members of the Forum. Who else? Suitable... Oh, I didn't know he's a bunny boy. Suitable for consumption and easily to breed. Those were the two conditions I was given for the stock structure to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least, I doubt they will be served for dinner today or tomorrow. Here you are, Elaine. Is this the gleaner you mentioned? The one who was looking for the lost marmot? Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk? Anyway. I am Krau, the students of Baldessian. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the Forum's decision as of late have not sat entirely well with us, and and that is why we made this descent into Labyrinthos. We hoped by seeing those decisions put to action, we might fully understand their reasoning. Why it's impractical? Never hurts to try to gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I am sorry that I can't offer you any more of our services. Wow. Did you learn anything from our friend there? Not really. So we've confirmed that the order of this ambition is indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I'd say that fits with everything I've heard thus far. We also discovered that the operation that when this operation was begun, the Forum contacted the Gleaners Guild ship and put their people to the great work. Some 4 days after the Telophroi made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners keep abreast of the news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus, I am inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, that gives a distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet, it is hard to believe that such an incomprehensive reconstruction of Labyrinthos and its archives could have been planned so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making, and they were but awaiting the right time to put into effort. And the Telophroi declaration was what set it all in motion? Seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest that we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archaeon? From there, we can reach the lower... Oh, what the hell? Crowd, what's wrong? It's fine, truly. A sudden descent has left me with a bit of headache that... Nothing that will stop me from soldiering on. Let us be about it. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archaeon. We follow the path east through the forest. You were chasing after the mouse, or marmot was it, I guess. Anyway, tis the trolls you need to keep watch out. What's going on, Crow? There's side quests. I might be more inclined to do, honestly, I should have been more inclined to do side quests in fucking Shadowbringers, where we literally went to another star. Let's say I think I'd be more inclined to do side quests in this expansion. But no. I am more inclined, it's just, main story. I mean, I'm nowhere near needing fucking side quest experience, so. God, Ethos is gonna have Ethos is probably having like a fucking, like, he's covered in his own jizz. I'm calling it. Behold, the Archeon. The Archeon. As Nomenon serves as Charlayan's literary archive, so does the structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar, but this building you see is merely the upper entrance. An access point to the vaults, carved in the thing. Within these vast rooms are stored countless samples of specimens, as well as detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archeon contains a physical history of Charlayan's unwavering dedication and the acclamation of knowledge. Well, we won't learn anything of value standing out here. Let us proceed into the main building and speak with its custodian. Oh no, you DC'd? Oh no. Gemstone Trader. Feels bad, Coded. Feels bad. Greetings. We are here to peruse the Archeon's vault. Peruse? You're clearly not gleaners, then. Might I ask of your affiliation? We belong to the students of Baldessian. But is that relevant? I was given to believe that the vaults, those open to the public at least, were open to the public. Ordinarily, yes, that would be the case at present. However, access is restricted. Only persons with direct involved in reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. Not us then, I suppose. We had better move along to another facility. This building has a lift which connects to the middle tier. Might we at least make use of that? That service has also been suspended, I'm afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over to the conveyance of inventory. So this is as far as we can go. I apologize for the inconvenience. Please come again after our reconstruction operation is concluded. By that time, it'll be too late. We were so close to getting answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let's step outside for a moment and shall we? You're currently doing Thavner, so you'll be back. Yeah, I decided to do the Charlatan side first. Students of Aldessian. They really won something? Holy shit. We are at an impasse. As we have no other leads, I should like to peruse this one further. But I doubt that our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by a heartfelt plea. We must seek another means to access the lower level. It is likely that the people in this area are involved with the reconstruction in one way or another. If we were to ingratiate ourselves, they might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let us ask around. Surely someone is in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load. Am I taking the lift? Oh no, we're just students. They won't let us into the Archeon, even though we found. Actually, we have no idea what it is we found. There's no record of such a creature anywhere. But it was wandering around Tranquility, and so we thought to donate it to the world. Oddest little squeal, don't you think? Anyway, I suppose we have to take care of it until the Archeon is opening. What's that? Take you down the lift with me? Sorry, but not a chance. I've been up and down all day, and only now have I finally found a spare moment to rest. I did see a gleaner fellow heading out the gate there, though, shouldering a large package, engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with it, whatever it is he's doing. I need to, because I just remembered that good old bike Chan over here is higher mount speed. Oh, it's Aaronville. Why, you're frightened away. Ah, it's you again. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in the middle of another task. A cloudkin I need to capture is close, very close. You wish to help me with that too. You spend your time in unusual ways, my friend. Still, 2 hunters are generally better than 1. Very well. The canal here is a common gathering spot for birds of all kind. But the one I'm after today is the hornbill. Its feathers are green and its cries are a distinctive caw. Single it out and shoot it with a sleeping dart. Okay. Well, it's one of these things again, isn't it? The effects are short-lived, so I'll lie in wait at the riverbank and to claim our quarry. I'm a god.
A fair shot.
Oh, he's got a voice. Which means he's dead.
Nicely done. Let me truss this one up, and I'll make my way over to you.
He's dead. He's dead. He's 100% dead.
There you are. Any new revelations?
So you met with that gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill. I understand catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a cleaner's duties. But not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers hand-picked by the Forum. The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be allowed to fall into outside hands. Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. But judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species, too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
When you put it that way, migration does sound like a reasonable assumption.
That's all it is, though. An assumption. Through our tasks, we gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the Forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Before you go, remember to like, comment, and sub to us. Not only does it help out the channel and let us know what you're into, but it also makes you 100% cooler than everybody else. I checked with Aqua, it's definitely true.